I was watching a video on YouTube this morning before I came out, and it was a video about England in 1938 with a load of pictures that an American tourist had taken. I'll put the link in the description, you might find it of interest, and it was of an England that I immediately identified with. And I thought to myself, perhaps that's the topic and the subject of today's video. I'm on a quest for England, and I've been starting this just before COVID came along, which curtailed a lot of the filming that I was able to do, and I haven't really got going with it. And I suppose what the question that a number of people have been asking is, what England are you looking for? I'm starting this video in Falmer, just north of Brighton. I've been here a couple of times. In fact, I did a couple of videos here with Mike Dixon, one on mental health and about how important it is to get out and do walks, and another one was about the lichen that you find, and we were using this graveyard here, the churchyard, as a place to look at the lichen. But it's a beautiful village, and I suppose in many ways it sort of encapsulates what I think that England is for me. And I think the other thing that one should say is this search for England is very much a personal journey. Everybody's going to have their version of what England is and what it should be. And for me, this is going to, or rather for this video series, this is going to be the England that I'm looking for, not definitive what England is, because it's too multifaceted to be anything other than a whole load of different Englands. One of the things that makes this country so incredible, I think, is the plants, the trees, the fauna. It's just such a diverse range of things that we have, and of course I will continue to explore those, and particularly the native ones, and learn and find out more about how they grow. Back in the 1940s, or at least the late 30s, and during the 40s, I suppose, and during the war, for me, that sort of epitomises a pinnacle of what this country had reached, a sort of charm, a sort of innocence, a sort of proud nation. And I think that over the last 80 years since then, we've lost a hell of a lot. Clearly, we've gained a lot of things technology-wise, but I think there's a certain sense of pride that's gone, a certain vulgarness that's crept in, a sort of slackening, if you like, of our belts. I think we've become very influenced by other countries, and we've almost lost our identity, and I think that's a bit of a sad situation. And in this quest for England, I suppose with the niche that I'm following, heritage, landscape and nature, I'm going to be looking for those elements of England that I think were the best in our current climate, in the current world that we exist in, and hope that actually from that we can salvage an England to be proud of and make us want to carry on living the way we do. I'm just coming down into the main part of the village, away from the pond. And when you see these houses around me, which you can see in the background of the video, isn't there something that just warms your heart when you see that? Isn't there a reason that people come to England and look at these historic places that sort of just burn something inside you. Over here you've got the old post office cottage. A fine old flint building with flint walls. Small windows, they had small windows in the old days. Beautiful plants outside. There's something about the old villages, that community, that architectural design that just, I don't know, it speaks to me volumes. And when I look what we are doing in the modern world, the new builds, the utilitarian buildings, the lack of pride, then that's what makes me nostalgic for those old days. I don't think I want to go back to the old days and those the back-breaking work. Obviously I welcome all the improvements that we had, but there's just something about the old days that really speaks to me. Let's cross the railway bridge. The motorway bridge goes across the A27 here, and Falmer, the village itself, it's a rural country farming village, so typical of villages that was around in history, and before the commuter moved in and the labourers on the land and the old community moved out. And this was bisected, if that's the right word. It was split in half by the A27, which is the Brighton to Chichester route to Portsmouth and so on, and it's a very busy route. One of the things the locals now have to put up with is this noise. So not only has it split what would have been a beautifully quiet village with perhaps just a small single track road going through it at one time, but now it's got to put up with this continual drone of the noise. I assume that in the future, when we have electric cars, that possibly that noise will reduce, but that's some way off, and also there would still be some rumble. Hopefully the fumes will disappear. Behind me now is a rather lovely old flint pub. I'm going to move away from that busy road that we can hear, but beautiful old barn there, look. Lovely old barn behind me. Now, if I make my way up this road, this I think leads up to the Sussex University, which is one of our major universities down here. And then as we come up again, all this lovely flint work and the hedges and all of that, which existed thanks to those people who built them, of course. A lovely old house here with ivy growing up the wall. There's a bloke behind me making a hell of a din, pulling up a can't see him, where is he? Down there. A lawnmower. But it's this way I want to go next. So it's now called Pelham Cottages, but I think, if I've got this correct, that's the old school. Beautiful old building. It says on there 1869. And then again on my right, this way, still getting used to this gimbal, another fantastic old flint cottage, the sort of cottage that I would actually very much love to live in. And the irony of all of this, I think, is that these are such desirable properties. What makes them desirable? Is it because that they are old in and of itself, or is it because that they elicit a certain charm, a certain heritage, a certain something that cannot be put into words, a certain beauty, an aesthetic? Of course, because they're desirable, they are incredibly expensive, unlike the lesser beautiful places that are being built. And now, sadly, they are pretty much the sole domain of the rich. What a turnaround that has been, hasn't it? What an amazing turnabout face. And sadly, it is only the rich now who really get onto the land, who own the land, who have the land. It's a shame. So this, I know, has been a bit of a strange video. I'm still getting used to my gimbal, which I'm operating here, which has not been the easiest of things. There's been a few technical issues. One, at least the camera, and I've never I mentioned it was a DSLR camera in one of the videos. It's actually a mirrorless, as somebody correctly said, and that is true. And I only said it was a DSLR because most people know what that is, whereas a mirrorless camera, some people go, well, I don't know what that means. Here's a silent car. That was, yeah, that's an electric car. Now, if we have cars like that, it would be so much easier, from my point of view, filming. What was the other thing I was just going to say before I go? Yeah, so it's a bit of a strange hodgepodge as I question what it is I'm looking for in this England that I love. And it's certainly things like old walls like this, that heritage, that history, that element of nostalgia. I don't know. I sound like I'm a bit of a twit, really, confused and a bit of a loony. But that's what this quest is all about. That's why I'm looking, and I really hope that I find it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow, like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this, if this has in any way entertained you, I suppose, or bemused you. And if you have a positive comment, do put them below. Until next time, bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.